आज हमारी गेस्ट होने वाली हैं मिसेस नवनीता गौतम, जो कि इंडिया की पहली एथलेटिक थेरेपिस्ट है एंड वो बहुत सारे स्पोर्ट्स में काम कर चुकी है, बट स्पेसिफिकली टॉकिंग अबाउट क्रिकेट, ओडीआई वर्ल्ड कप में उन्होंने काम करा और पिछले 5 सीजन से आरसीबी की मेंस और वुमेन्स टीम दोनों की एथलेटिक थेरेपिस्ट रही हैं।
नेचुरली इस पूरे पॉडकास्ट का नेचर और टॉपिक जो है वो होने वाला है अराउंड जो हमारे फेवरेट क्रिकेटर्स हैं, जो आजकल अपने फील्ड के टॉप पर हैं। उनके पीछे के फिटनेस के सीक्रेट्स क्या हैं, वो कैसे अपनी फिटनेस को मेंटेन करके रखते हैं, आईपीएल कितना ज़्यादा टैक्सिंग होता है। ये काफ़ी सारी अनटोल्ड स्टोरीज, वो अनटोल्ड स्ट्रगल्स आपको जानने को मिलेंगे फ्रॉम अ पर्सन जो कि उसी ड्रेसिंग रूम में रहते हैं। आई थिंक ये पॉडकास्ट काफ़ी ज़्यादा इंट्रोडक्टरी इंसाइट्स देने वाला है फॉर ऑल द क्रिकेटर्स जो कि अभी एक यंग एज पे है। एंड आई थिंक ये उनको अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ भी देखना चाहिए, उनको भी काफ़ी कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा। सो विदाउट एनी फर्दर डू लेट्स स्टार्ट द पॉडकास्ट। लाइक ऑलवेज सब्सक्राइब कर देना चैनल को। हमारा जो फ्री टेलीग्राम ग्रुप चैट है वो पिन कमेंट में आपको मिल जाएगा, उसको भी जाके चेकआउट करिए। चेक आउट आवर मेंबरशिप्स एंड नाउ सिट बैक एंड एंजॉय। Yeah, so actually now I would appreciate you having the technical expertise in the next segment. We'll have a chill segment on this one. Firstly, in your experience, which player has the best understanding of their own body? That I know my limitations, I know my positives, I know what works for my body. Who has that best level of understanding, which is why they like those players are at the top right now?
I would say 3 players. Virat Kohli, number 1. Number 2, Faf du Plessis. And number 3, ABD. The reason why is I just feel like they just know their body in and out. They know when to push. They know when to gym. They know what to do for recovery. And it's just in and out. And I think they've been around for so long that they know what doesn't work and what works for them. And as a therapist, it's so important for me to be a listener more than anything, because I think that's what gels you well with the players, is to be a listener, because they're pro athletes. You tell me what to do, and you understand what I'm saying, right? And that's where they trust your work even more, because I feel as a platform, for example, it's very quick. You understand what I'm saying, right? There's no room for like, okay, let me trial and test this, right? Unless if there's something else like a niggle involved, that's another story. But those that know their bodies in and out, Nav, this works, XYZ works with me, and guess what? We stick with XYZ because it's been working for all these years. They're pro athletes, and being a listener, you only get the opportunity to learn more.
I think this is something that we hear from all the athletes that are on the top of their sport. Basically, like you mentioned, Virat Kohli and Faf du Plessis, I expected that you'll say those names. Perhaps I did not expect that you'll say AB de Villiers, because he has retired and like I've not seen him play for a long time. So Faf du Plessis and Virat Kohli are definitely like at the epitome of fitness. You would say that, right? And that's what I was saying, ki almost every player who is at the top, they always know their body that well. Like I hear this about Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. They always know what to do, when to push, when not to push. So like, does that make your job a bit easier when you know that these players already know what they want to do and they're telling you basically?
Yes, that makes my job better. And if I think something will work, like for their specific, let's just say we're trying to gain a range of motion of like a joint. If I can suggest it, and obviously in the beginning times, I will definitely trial and test it. And if they like it, we keep going on. And sometimes it's really cool. Like sometimes like we break it up into little patches and be like, before a game, I do this 10-minute routine with them. And then it eventually just becomes like like a mantra, like, we're going to do this every single time. So it's kind of a lot of trial and error. It depends on how they feel also, right? It depends on the travel. It depends on the bus ride from the hotel to the cricket field. And yeah, like it's quick stuff that you need before. And also like when, for example, if we're batting first and the players come in for that 10-15 minute little window before they have to go out on the field, then it's like that, okay, I've been working with this player for like 5 minutes of just quickly doing soft tissue work or a little bit of stretching and stuff, and that's all we need. And we just keep that going on. And then you eventually know that, like, okay, I need to be at the table at this time, like next to the treatment table, because I know X amount of players are coming in. And again, just being proactive, just getting to know people more and more. And yeah, so that's about it.
I think I'll actually, like, this is the question that I wanted to ask you the most, that I'm going to ask you right now. See, personally, for the sake of the conversation and to dumb it down to or simplify to a level that the audience also understands it, there are umpteen number of factors that decide how athletic or how fit you are, right? I'll take 3 factors into account, and then we can have a discussion on how do you treat those 3 body types essentially, right? And we'll take examples to help people also understand them better. So what I've come to know is there are some athletes that take up the sport of cricket who are, number one, naturally gifted also, in the sense that there is no athlete that is just naturally gifted. Of course, they have to put in the effort also, but there are some athletes that have that at least. Some athletes don't. So for example, a guy like Lionel Messi or like AB de Villiers, right, who seem to have a body that is very gifted in the sense that they move in a way that supports the sport that they are playing. Of course, they do the hard work also. Then the second type of guy, like Cristiano Ronaldo, like Virat Kohli, that people say that perhaps Virat Kohli himself say that I was a chubby kid, right? And then I had to transform myself, and now he's this fitness icon of the country that, appreciates and perhaps is being idolized by all the kids in the country. The third type of guy, for example, Chris Gayle, a guy who is very muscular, may not be very athletic, but he does not need to be, because he is just so strong that he could hit every ball out of the park. These 3 body types, where somebody is very athletic naturally, someone has done it through a lot of hard work, he was not naturally athletic, and the third one who is very muscular does not need to be athletic. How do you manage to treat these 3 type of bodies differently in the same setup?
I think it's like those that are naturally gifted as well. But from my experience, I don't really treat them too much because they recover quicker. They recover quicker. They know what really works for them. So I'm just, ABD is one of them, but just kind of naming, just memorizing a couple of other players that I feel were more naturally gifted.
One thing I will add. What you just said, that they recover quicker, is that also a marker for you to understand that perhaps this guy is naturally gifted also?
No, that's not one of the markers. It's just you get to finally know them. And there are people that are naturally gifted that I do see them more often. But I feel like they recover a bit quicker. It's not a trend for everyone. It's just majority that I've seen. So I will kind of, for example, I won't be proactive. I won't go to them and ask them. I think they themselves will be like, Nav, hey, XYZ muscle is tight. Can you please release it? So, you understand what I'm saying? And that parameters. Those that are, that really, really worked hard, in that field of strength training just to get where they're at. They themselves, I will mention it, and we kind of will have a little bit of more hands-on work and soft tissue work that's needed, just because, when you do gain muscle after a strength session or post cricket, obviously the muscles become sore. So you also want that recovery to happen naturally as well. You give them a couple of hours, let them sleep it through. And there is going to be some spots that they can't get into, which is finally our job, that we come into play and be like, hey, you know what? Why don't we see you more often? And it doesn't have to be for long. It's just a little bit of things that they'll be concentrated to some areas as well. Those that are muscular, the last one that you spoke about as well, that is a hit or miss, kind of a mix of both. Right? I think it's a hard one to stay also, but sometimes, for example, for golf, if you do too much soft tissue release, even with a cricketer as well, if you do too much hands-on release, sometimes you're too mobile. You understand what I'm saying, right?
What is a soft tissue release exactly? Could you explain that?
So it's a form. Look, so there's soft tissue is more like treatment wise. It's like a massage, but you're actually doing trigger points. You're releasing specific spots of the muscle. So understanding where the muscle starts and ends is very, very important for that. So I do a lot of hands-on muscular release, soft tissue release. So there's a fine line between doing too much and then doing too little. So post a gym session, I don't do too much because I want the muscle to grow. You understand what I'm saying, right? There's no point in like doing hands-on and treatment because you're suppressing what you've gained. Does that kind of make sense? But for example, after a match, when things are very sore, you let them sleep off, have your recovery because that's the natural form of recovery. Do your ice bath after a match because it's readily available in every stadium. And the next morning, you kind of see, how are you feeling? Tell me how you're feeling. What are the spots? Because it could be just everything in the beginning, after a match, you'd be like, oh my God, right? But then you give it downtime to sleep and it might just be 50% of the spots. And then before a match, we can't do too much that we get them too mobile. Does that kind of make sense? Like, for example, what I've learned after working with top golfers also is if we do a lot of soft tissue release, for example, in the forearms, they don't want to be too mobile that they miss, that they don't swing appropriately. They're not able to grip their golf club optimally. So I've learned how to do like a quick little, soft release, soft massage, kind of just to get it warmed up kind of thing. So quick stuff like that. So it really just depends on the extent of the game and like external factors, environmental factors as well, and how the body feels pre and post.
अब सोचो अगर एक क्लिप इतनी बढ़िया थी तो पूरा का पूरा पॉडकास्ट कितना बढ़िया होगा।
तो अगर आपको इसी क्लिप का पूरा पॉडकास्ट देखना है तो यहाँ पे क्लिक करिए, और अगर आपको ऐसे ही और क्लिप्स बिंज वॉच करनी है तो यहाँ पे क्लिक करिए।